As the sun sets over Congo's thick equatorial forests, Eli Mangasa, a skilled hunter, returns home with the monkey he has shot. Of his prize, he and his family will only be given the tail and the intestines. The best meat will go to his Bantu master. Eli and his family work in a makeshift camp on the edge of the equatorial forest in Likwala province in the Northern Republic of Congo. They are Baaka, one of 15 ethnic groups who have traditionally lived as hunters and gatherers in the forests of Central Africa. Known for centuries by the colonial label pygmées and racially classified as short and stocky, the racial hierarchy has continued unabated. They are perceived by many as subhuman and ready to exploit as cheap labor. Father Lucien, a Swiss missionary, has been working with the Baaka for more than 20 years. He travels extensively throughout the region, visiting communities, and has witnessed the discrimination firsthand.
The principal cause of discrimination is anthropology. If you consider a person subhuman, then you can justify the way you treat them. When we look at history, we can see how the slave trade was justified by considering the black African as subhuman. So we can draw a parallel today to what we see here. As long as the Bantu here in Likwala consider the Baaka as inferior, nothing will change.
Le pygmée, comme il l'appelle vulgairement, comme un sous-homme, bon, rien ne changera en profondeur.
With the opening up of the Congo Basin, the second largest rainforest in the world, to logging, an estimated 52,000 private roads have been built. The roads, crisscrossing what was once impenetrable vegetation, have opened the area up for informal agriculture and exploitation. It has also forced thousands of the area's indigenous people to leave their natural habitat and seek out an existence working for the Bantu, the country's dominant ethnic group.
Aujourd'hui, la forêt, enfin, n'est plus le monopole des Baaka.
Today, the forest is no longer the monopoly of the Baaka. They used to be the masters of the forest, but now, more and more, they are being driven out. Every time there is a new road, there are new masters who need labor for their plantations. Even when they live on the periphery of a village or town, as it grows, they are often chased away.
It is early morning when a wooden UNHCR motorboat, once used to transport refugees from the conflict in neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, is loaded with people, medicines, and supplies. The purpose of this mission is different. A mobile team of health workers from Doctors for Africa and missionaries from the Catholic Church are bringing essential medical services to the indigenous Baaka communities living along the banks of the Bangi River in the northeastern corner of the country.
It's a province that until a couple of years ago was very isolated with very limited infrastructure. We had to go 150 kilometers on the river to reach this population. It's expensive and it takes a lot of fuel. The isolation of the area makes it much more difficult to access basic social services.
The rivers of the vast Likwala province are a lifeline for people living here. They provide food, water, and a means to get from place to place. When they finally reach Moscow village, their destination for the day, they are warmly welcomed by Chief Antoine Bwange. Their arrival is cause for celebration. To recognize their presence, the Jangi, a magical spirit from the forest, appears from the bushes to bless the contingent. Despite the tropical heat, the singing and dancing continues at a steady pace. When the Jangi eventually returns to the forest, the music and dancing die down and the community gathers for treatment. For 10-year-old Albert Mangama, the pain of Sister Ancilla's jab of penicillin will soon be forgotten. He's suffering from yaws, a highly contagious skin infection that, although eradicated in many parts of the world, remains common amongst forest-dwelling communities and can be easily treated. For many indigenous people living in the Republic of Congo, regular health services are practically non-existent. For the majority who now live in semi-permanent settlements, mortality rates are high as new lifestyles and contact with the outside world bring their own problems. Malaria, measles, tropical skin diseases are all common.
This work is very, very important to them because when you neglect them and leave them, many of them will die. Some of them that are suffering from this sickness, after giving them this injection, when you come back 2 days or 3 days, you see that the wound is now going gradually until you will not see any wound again.
In a makeshift desk, Rufin is filling out birth registration forms. It is no easy task for the parents, who often have scant details on when and where their child was born. He often has to resort to examining teeth to guess approximate ages.
We register the children so they can access social services. It's very important because it gives the child a legal status, a nationality, a right to go to school, as well as access to other services. It guarantees them their rights as a citizen.
The mobile health clinic, along with the birth registration, is part of a larger national plan approved by government and supported by UNICEF and its partners to help overcome the marginalization these indigenous communities still face.
La Constitution, de fait, de manière pratique et concrète, ne protège pas.
In practice, the Constitution does not protect the indigenous people. So this is why it was decided a couple of years ago to adopt a specific law to protect and promote their rights.
Moscow, a throwback to a time when the country was a Soviet ally, was settled only 10 years ago. For a few cigarettes and items of clothing, Antoine Bangwe's family was lured from the forest to provide cheap labor to till the field.